That shit. Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation on LivehiphopDaily.tv, sponsored by the Georgia Hemp Company this week. And you know it's crazy. Right before we got to the show, we was having a great conversation about fried chicken. And I'm gonna give y'all this little tip. You don't want your house to smell like fried chicken, use fresh grease. We as a people have a tendency to reuse grease. Let's stop doing that. Even though let me tell you something, I was the biggest culprit of that. You'd have to burn it to the bottom. Grease would have to be done when I'd be like, all right, we done now. We done now. Just pour it out. We done now. But like I say, higher level of conversation. We back at it with my boy Rashard and Faded 8. What's up with you, boy?
How y'all doing, man? How y'all feeling out there?
I'm feeling good, bro. You know what?
Good.
You're a testimony. You're a testimony to the shooting your shot. Cause
what do you mean?
When I mean this, man, after you had left the show, because I remember when you came up for the show one time, you was kicking it with us. You had set it up. You smoked us out. It was good. I remember right before you left, you had hit me with the first message of, I need to be on the show. And I was like, I like dude. I like dude. Me feel like I work it out. Hit me again. Yo, you got a slot for me, bro. I was like, all right, chill, dog. I got you. Yo, dog, you got a spot for me. Bruh, I got you, dog. I got you. But you know why I was pumping for a little bit? It was the event. And I was like, I really don't know how to do the event and I didn't want to put people out there like that. But I figured again, you got so many other things under your umbrella that we could chop up about and the event that it would make sense.
Absolutely.
And the minute I had a spot open, the first person I hit was a dude who hit me 3 times. Was like, yo, I want to be on the show.
Okay, so for a little defense on my behalf.
I applauded
He's absolutely right, y'all.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right. I mean, this is just one more story that somebody can tell that I am aggressive on the things that I want. And from the experience that I had when I was first here, it just was more so like, oh, this is something that it's a great platform to use.
Appreciate.
And to speak with all different types of people, not just people of cannabis, but just people who are into podcasts in general. So it was just interesting to see that it was black owned, and it just made me feel like I need to do something with it. So I personally don't have anybody who works with me with my communication. Unfortunately, I am not able to hire anybody right now, but trust me, that is definitely something I'm trying to budget out next year, for sure. So when I do reach out to people, I do come off a tad bit aggressive. And sometimes I actually get a lot of negative feedback from that.
I can believe it.
But then I actually get people like you who say, hey, look, man, we got you. We got that spot. You gonna take it or leave it? And I'm actually like, you know what? Yes, I'm gonna take that spot. And I humbly appreciate it. So thank you for actually allowing me to come on.
No doubt, Sean. Like I say, man, you got a lot of things under the pipeline. The event is definitely one of the big ones we want to talk about. But before we get into that, let us know who you are. Who is Rashard?
Hello, everyone. My name is Rashard. I am actually the owner of a creative agency called Private Studios.
Yep.
And housing under Private Studios is my cannabis merchandise company, and that is called Faded 8. As of right now, we currently produce smoke merchandise, which do include T-shirts, glass tips. We are working on a negotiation with rolling papers, which is another thing I wanted to discuss.
Okay.
We are actually going to be able to license and be able to use that camo pattern. I'm dealing with a lot of heat behind that.
I believe it.
And actually not from Bathe and Ape at all.
Who you doing?
More so I would say fashion heads and people who work or live and die fashion.
Yeah.
I get a lot of feedback because it's not what people would believe is original. And I see everyone's point of view on that, and I'm not denying it at all. However, there is a method behind the madness, and it's something that I don't want to explain. I really want people to just question and come to events and see it for themselves and experience it. And that goes into my event. My event is called Planet of the Fade, which basically it's an event of a faded ape. My goal is to give everyone an experience that they're leaving with something, whether they're leaving with an idea, whether they're leaving with some sort of creativity. And also I'm going to be helping people get educated on the cannabis industry and get educated on how to get their medical cards here in Georgia, because that's something that a lot of people don't know is actually accessible to all of us as of today, as of now.
Okay, perfect. Well, we jumped into it. You know, private studios is the creative branch of everything. But the thing we're here to really speak about is the party this Friday. So you mentioned a little bit about it. You said it's going to have an educational component to it. It's going to have clearly a THC component to it.
Yes. Okay. So the one that's Friday is technically not my event.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So it's fine. That's fine. It's okay. My event is August 24th.
Okay.
And it's actually going to be a daytime event. There will be an education in between THC and CBD, and there will be different types of exotic merchandise for people to come and check out and look at and experience for the first time as well. I think when it comes to purchasing cannabis in today's age, it's actually a lot different than what it was 10 years ago. Now you can get what you want and what you need, and Georgia is going to be one of those next states to get legalized. So it's important to start educating people ahead of time when you're when you're purchasing cannabis at a dispensary, that you can get exactly what you're asking for, or the medicine that you need for yourself.
Of course. You know, and that the biggest change right now when it does come to cannabis is that part. You know, I'm no longer buying my weed from somebody off the street. You know what I mean? For the most part, you're buying it from somebody who has flavors. You're buying it from somebody who has various different strains. Buying it from somebody who has a good understanding of how to store it. You're doing a lot of things now. You know what I mean? So all that's slightly different. And all that's slightly different. Speak to us again when it comes to the event. What makes your event unique from some of the other ones we see pop up around the area?
My event is actually going to be a lo-fi hip-hop event, which is something that I don't think a lot of people in Atlanta who lived here for over about 5 to 10 years know that we're actually the hub for lo-fi hip-hop.
What, Atlanta?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, we're actually...
Shout out to Father and them, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
And, Controllerize.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Sick, Controllerize.
I'm a huge fan of them. I didn't actually, true story, I didn't hear about Controllerize until I was in Colorado. I was hotboxing with my boys out in Colorado. And long story short, we was playing lo-fi hip-hop. We was going back and forth on different songs, different beats. And they brought it up, was like, yo, so have you gone to any of the shows? And I said, nah, I'm never out west to go. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's right there in Atlanta. And I'm like, it was interesting, long story short. It's very interesting.
That's what's up. So it's going to be a lo-fi experience as well?
So we're going to have lo-fi hip-hop. We're going to have a tad bit of retro video games. It's not going to be as big as Controllerize, but we will have a little gaming space for people. And the environment, I think that when people get into the room and the space, I took a lot of time personally, with the decoration to give everyone an experience. I wanted people to walk in and see and feel like there's somewhere else, that they went to another place.
Makes sense, man. So that's what it is. The event's going to be August 24th. What's it looking like? What's the reception been like so far from some of the people who you've told about it? Like, have they been like, yo, they've been geeked up? They geeked up for it?
I've gotten a lot of great feedback. Actually, I was really nervous about that because of the communities that I was trying to cross.
Yeah,
I was nervous, but to me, I felt like the two just go hand in hand. I mean, that type of music and that type of energy that crowd brings out, and to me, I believe that cannabis is a uniter of all people, no matter what race or gender or age you are. Yeah. So it brings out a good group of people, period. So just to give people a safe environment to be able to see other people interested into the same things as they are, with good music and good vibes, that's my whole goal and mission behind my event.
Word, man. Yo, so we definitely know that you're a cannabis consumer. When was the first time that you consumed?
Until I was an adult. I was 21.
Bro, can I dap you out on that? Yo, everybody
21.
on this show be coming
21.
through and they be smoking when they be 10 and 12. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't smoked till I was 21 either. Like,
no, I grew up around it. It was something that was in my life from my teenage years to as an adult. Okay. So as I started seeing it, I really didn't have an interest. I just didn't have an interest into it. It wasn't until I got out of high school, was actually homeless, living on the streets here in Atlanta, and was dealing with reality, fresh out of high school with no support, no nothing, and trying to figure life out. and I was with my brother, and I had broke down one day and just told him like, oh, I'm going through this, that, and the third, and he just looked at me, he's like, I don't know what to tell you, I really don't know what to do, but he was like, hit this. And it was actually a joint too, true story. It was a joint. And like I'm like literally like boo-hoo, like snot on lip, like crying, and you know I'm like I don't know what to do with my life for real. And he's like, yo, like you just need to hit this. Like he's like, I don't have advice for you. Like he just was being like, you know, he was a great friend. And so
this is a doorbell we need to ring sometimes and just say niggas.
Yeah,
like nigga shit, man.
So I ended up. I mean, I gave in. It didn't take much for me to give in. I tried it. It was cool. I didn't really have that first experience like most people you see in the movies where they cough and choke and like everything started. I didn't have that experience. I really took like by the third joint that I realized that I was high.
Oh, so y'all went in. So
yeah,
we talking about the third one.
Yeah, and I started and yes, I do remember my first strain. My first strain was Granddaddy Purp. And it was the real one. It was a real Granddaddy Purp. It was purple. It was one of the first purples strains I've ever seen. This was 2000. I'm telling my age, but this was 2011.
Oh no, you can go ahead,
so
man.
This is 2011.
Granddaddy Purp was the shit.
I saw he had he had enough of it, and we sat back and he went to Morehouse at that time. I was literally sleeping on his dorm floor. That's how bad my life was at that time.
That's crazy.
So I went from there to now doing everything that I do now over that time span.
Have you ever thought about why you consume, like whether it's an anxiety issue or creative?
Yeah, I can definitely comment. It's anxiety, being ADHD.
Okay.
And having hyperthought and being hypersensitive. So in other words, my thought process, the way that my brain processes thoughts is faster than what I'm either saying or doing. So most times, to most people, I come off irritable or aggressive coming to the comments that you're saying, is because that I know what I want, and I think of multiple ways to achieve just one thing. It's something I really can't control.
Okay.
So cannabis allows me to keep that in line and keeps that controlled.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, what was your worst experience being high?
I would say not having money and not being able to buy food.
Oh, but
that's the worst experience.
But you still was high.
Yeah, but that's the worst experience ever I really had. That's when I realized like, okay, I might be abusing this situation. When you realizing that you balancing out that you have to have this in order to do something, when you don't have a true medical condition physically, at some point you have to be responsible for your actions.
Well, you did have a medical condition. I mean, if you suffer from ADHD, that is a medical condition. And I see what you're saying, because if I was an older person and I was talking to you, I'd be like, yeah, you ain't got no medical condition, meaning like you ain't got no broke leg or nothing. You don't need no pain medicine. But you actually do. Like if you're an ADHD person, like you say, it helps you kind of straighten things out where everything else might be kind of wavy in your head. That's a needed thing. I mean, much better than you popping Ritalin all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adderall and Ritalin. I've done therapy. Still do therapy. I've done all those things, and it's not really worth it.
Right.
You lose your appetite. You lose really more of your personality. And I actually have a very brightening personality.
Yeah.
So growing up, when I was prescribed those things, I didn't like it in school. I didn't like how it made me feel in school. I did great in school though. I graduated high school and everything. I graduated in high school without ADHD medicine actually. Okay. So, and I worked really hard to get to that point to be able to do it, but I did it anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting as an adult now to consume it and then think back on your life and say, wow, like if I was able to get this prescribed to me, or if I was able to consume sativas, edibly without having to worry about smoking it because I'm a certain of age, it really probably would have made a difference in my earlier experiences in my childhood or early teenager years. But I didn't, unfortunately we didn't have the opportunity, which is why we're here, and we're trying to make sure that we're, fighting for that so that other generations will be able to have that opportunity or that choice, rather.
Well, bro, I'm glad you found that out about yourself and you learned that through the plant. Before we fade out of here, man, I know let us know or let people know how they can get involved in the event, how they could actually, you know, saying get in, because I know it's a private situation. I know you're not trying to let everybody in the world in the building.
So as of right now, I really haven't put too much information out there, which is also why I haven't said too much in the interview as well. But on the first, all the more details will be announced on my IG. As of right now, I'm currently just running my communications through my IG. I have my website that's going to be dropping on the 24th with the event.
Congratulations.
So you guys will actually be able to see all the merchandise that I've been planning and working on for the past year or two. And the link for tickets is in my bio on my IG. My IG is private_studios. Again, it's private. It's an underscore then studios. You'll be able to get your tickets there. If you want to be a vendor, if you want to take part or be a sponsorship, you can always DM me or you can email me. All the links are on my IG as well.
Solid. Appreciate you coming through. You gonna kick it with us for a second, man?
Yeah, I got a little time.
All right, that's what it is.
Yeah,
you still ain't finished that. It's just been burning, man.
I don't know if that other one went around yet.
And that's Cash Color Campus, a high level of conversation on LivehiphopDaily.tv.